Hi everybody, how are you today? Welcome to the Quick and Carry Kitchen. I'm Kristen Madreen, and I'm sitting here chopping up carrots and cabbage and potatoes and onions for our delicious Irish stew that we are having for lunch here at Quick and Carry. Welcome to any of you who are joining us live. Love to have you with us today, and thanks to all of you who watch later. We love that so many of you join in and comment after the show's already done. So we did something kind of cool this week. We put out a contest for the best recipe for cabbage. And we did that because cabbage is coming in the gardens of northern Michigan. And my favorite farmer, Joan Olds, who is my personal farmer, I highly recommend that you get one because it's awesome. She went out into her garden last night and brought me back a beautiful, huge head of cabbage that's in our soup this morning. And we wanted to use some of the cabbage, so we had a contest. And thank you to all of you who responded with ideas and your recipes. And the winner of our contest, who gets a set of our wonderful Quick and Carry silicone utensils for the Instant Pot, is Dev Daniel from Dallas, Texas. Dev, this recipe is delicious, and thank you for sharing it with us. Excuse me, people. So, I have been cooking away before the show, and I have in the Instant Pot here on saute, I've put in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and then I took 2 lengths of beef smoked sausage and chopped them into coins, and those are down in the Instant Pot with some onions, and they're browning. Hi, Kirsten Stuckey. Thanks for joining us today. Hi, Cindy Redden. So glad that you're here. Lori Stribling. Hi, Diane Yoakum. Hey, ladies. Oh, Lori, you're from Salem, Oregon. You're up. Let's see, what time would it be there? 9 o'clock or so at your house. Thanks for joining us this morning. So the Instant Pot is on saute. And one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about today is, you've heard me say this before, but deglazing the pan is super important in Instant Pot cooking for 2 reasons. Number 1, the flavor at the bottom of the pan. This is the exact same as if you were cooking it on a stove top. You always want to, if you're sauteing or frying onions or vegetables or meats, there's going to be all of that good brown stuff on the bottom of your pan, and that's the stuff you want in your soup or your stew. So I like to let things get nice and brown. You're going to stir them with the Instant Pot. The Instant Pot saute function can get super hot, so check yours out and see. Mine at home is always set to medium because high is just too hot for me, and I like my vegetables to cook, not burn. But there's going to be, especially when you cook something like summer sausage and some onions, maybe put some garlic in there, all of that kind of stuff is going to brown on the bottom of your Instant Pot. And it is super important for the Instant Pot to cook in the next phase for you to deglaze and get any of that brown stuff off, because if there are burned bits on the bottom of your Instant Pot liner, it will not come to pressure correctly, and that's the whole point. So deglazing the pan properly is important. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how I do it. I wish that we had one of those fancy Martha Stewart kind of kitchens where you could look over my pot. But if you could, what you would see is sizzling sausage and sizzling onions and the oil and the brown stuff at the bottom. So I am going to turn this on just for another second here. Let it come up to temperature a little bit, stir it around, and then you only need a little bit of your liquid to deglaze the pan. So in this case, the recipe is calling for a whole box of the chicken broth, but we're only going to use a little of it to deglaze the pan. So here goes. It's going to make a nice big noise. There we go. And I'm using that broth to get up the brown bits on the bottom. And what happens when you do it right is it almost makes a gravy at the bottom of the liner. So use a nice spoon. I'm using one of our Quick and Carry long spoons to just remove any of the brown bits that are at the bottom, around the side, and it's making a lovely brown gravy at the bottom of the pan. And it smells heavenly. And I'm just gonna make sure that I get any of the like browned onions. Just make sure you do a good job so there's not any brown stuff left. And then you can go ahead and put in the rest of the box of broth. And I'm using a chicken broth, which is what Dev's recipe called for. You could also use vegetable broth if that's what you have. And then you just give that a nice stir. Dev, I really appreciate this recipe, and I think it was an original of Dev's. All right, so we have some sauteed onions and our sausage. Now all of our broth. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon and a half of garlic powder and a teaspoon and a half of caraway seeds. And I'm going to give it a nice stir after that. And then I have already prepared potatoes and cabbage that's going to go in. And once you start putting this in, it seems like your pot fills up really quickly. In fact, I might have to take a little of that cabbage out because I want it to have room for my awesome carrots. And I don't know if any of you have ever cooked with one of these Pampered Chef choppers, but they make potatoes and carrots super easy. I'm doing 3 big carrots all at once, and I like them because they're pretty on the side. Do you see how it makes a nice fluted edge? Hi, Kristen Stewart. How are you? Let's see who else is with us. Connie Wells. Hi, Connie. How are you? Linda Safey. Edna. Hey, Edna. How are you? Edna, I'm having some of Joanne's cabbage in this today. Hello, Judy Burr from San Antonio. Jacqueline Huff. Hi, from Michigan. Where are you, Jacqueline? You want to come over and cook with me? Adam from Ottawa. Hey, Adam, I'm so glad another Canadian is with us today. Always love to have our Canadian neighbors with us. You too, Adam, can come over and cook with me. Yes, Lori says she has this chopper. Yes, this is, other than the other, the Pampered Chef chopper that you go like that, this is my favorite kitchen tool. I just love this thing. And because, look, you can use it to grab stuff with, and it does make your vegetables so extra pretty. And there, I'm not going to have much ceremony here with everything going on, putting all this stuff in. All right, so I have carrots, potatoes, Joanne's awesome cabbage, onions, chicken broth, caraway seeds, garlic powder, and a little bit of salt. And you're going to put this under pressure in your Instant Pot for 20 to 25 minutes. And I did it for 25, and I think it's a little too long. And Deb and I kind of talked about this recipe a little, and she agrees. I think if you've cut your potatoes up, you can do this in 20 minutes and then give it a 5-minute natural pressure release. And then what you're going to do is, after you've released your pressure very carefully, and stirred the contents of your pot, you're going to add a can of coconut milk. You could also use evaporated milk if you wanted to. Almond milk would be too thin. Coconut milk is lovely because of its thickness. All of that coconut cream in there. I thought it added a wonderful, wonderful texture. And in fact, I'm going to try to show this to you. Hey, Della. Della from Arizona. Good morning. Darby from Arizona. I'm so glad to see you both here with us, Della and Darby. So I don't know how well you can see this. This turns into a beautiful golden stew. It's a lovely color, and the office here at Quick and Carry smells so delicious that there were some eager eaters already nosing around the kitchen before we went live today. So the soup turns out just beautiful. Now, there's another little trick I want to tell you that I learned from you. Some of you who submitted recipes for the cabbage soup, especially the one that is so popular with people on Weight Watchers, or if you have to fit in a ball gown and you want to lose 6 pounds in 5 days, you eat a lot of cabbage soup. If you do that in the Instant Pot, all of the instructions call for cooking everything first and then adding the chopped cabbage after. And what that's going to do is you're going to get a lot crisper, less cooked cabbage, obviously. So I sort of think that in this case, I'm saving out some of the cabbage and I'm going to chop it and then add it after I take the lid off. When I add the coconut cream milk at the end, I'm going to also add a little more chopped cabbage just to give the soup a little bit more of texture, because like a lot of vegetables, cabbage just gets pretty much obliterated under pressure, and it's delicious. It absolutely makes no difference, but it's something that I want to try because of reading all of the recipes that go with cabbage soup. Oh, Edna's going out to Joanne's to get some fresh veggies. Isn't it lovely to have your own farmer? I love it. Joanne's one of the hardest working women I know, and she just has beautiful stuff. Even though she's battled the drought here, her gardens look great. So thanks, Joanne. Edna, have a great day. Vicki Davis. Yes, Vicki says this looks like a great contender for my annual first soup of the fall tradition. Vicki, this would qualify. This is delicious. We are going to have this for lunch here. We've got some wonderful rye bread that was just baked this morning at Pleasanton Ovens here in Traverse City. Shout out to Pleasanton. They have incredible baked goods there. So with a loaf of delicious bread, I think dunking the bread in this golden soup, it's just lovely. It's going to make a lovely, lovely lunch. And it will keep for a while. I bet you won't need to keep it because people will eat it, and it's probably delicious as a leftover. So probably you've got 5 days in a refrigerator for a soup like this. It's very hearty and yet not too much for one of these sort of warmish days. We're having a lot of cool nights, and then it warms up to almost 80 in the afternoon around here. So perfect soup for this transition time. Hi, Alexandra Smith is joining us. How are you today, Alex? Nice to see you here. Okay, let's talk again about what we do. Put some olive oil in your Instant Pot liner on saute and let it get nice and hot. And then add chopped up it's not summer sausage, spice sausage. What am I looking for? Smoked sausage. And I chopped it pretty thin, and I let it get nice and brown and threw in some onions, got that all nice and brown, and it does make a beautiful, rich, almost burnt bottom on the Instant Pot liner. You take about a cup to a cup and a half of your chicken broth and deglaze the bottom while it's hot. And that helps the good bits come off the bottom. And you want to get that nice brown gravy down in there. Use the chicken broth to get all of the stuff off the bottom. That's a really good tip for anybody learning how to cook. If you want to know how to make your soups and your stews or anything taste better, proper deglazing of the pan is what does it. It really makes everything taste better. So deglaze the pan with the chicken broth, add the chicken broth back in. You're going to put in some caraway seeds, some salt, and some garlic powder. I think if you wanted to, you could use real garlic and put that in during the saute. That would also be delicious. Put all of your cabbage, your chopped carrots, your diced potatoes, all of that in, and it is right now at the fill line. It will cook down, so don't worry about anything in terms of the fullness of your pot. Cabbage, especially after 2 minutes under pressure, it's going to cook way back down. 20 minutes on high in manual pressure, or pressure cook on high for 20 minutes. And then you're going to do a 5-minute natural pressure release, and then release all the rest of the pressure. Hi, Lauren Gooler. Nice to see you with us today. Hello, Amy Main. Glad you could join us. Once you open your Instant Pot, remember to very carefully remove the lid. It will be full of moisture and condensation and very hot, so I always set that aside. And then stir everything really, really well. Add a can of coconut milk, which you can substitute like a can of evaporated milk if you wanted to. Stir it up really well, and then if you want, right there while stuff is still super hot, you could put in some finely chopped cabbage and let that cook for about 5 minutes just in the hotness of the soup, and it would add another little layer of texture. But you don't have to do it. The soup is beautiful. Like I said, it comes out with a golden color. The potatoes are perfectly done. The carrots are perfectly done. And when I tasted it, I couldn't believe how good it was. Our recipe contributor, Deb, said that it's become one of their favorite soups, and I can understand why. It's easy, it's very inexpensive to make, and super delicious. So, congratulations to Deb. You won one of our sets of our Quick and Carry utensils. Thanks to all of you who contributed to the contest. That was really fun to see what you all were talking about, and I love to see your ideas, and so I think we'll probably do that again as we go through the fall months. I love to get your feedback on what should I make. Remember, I feel like part of my job is to make recipes for you to find out, do they work, do they not work, are they good, are they only okay? You know, last week's recipe was absolutely delicious, but it wasn't much to look at. That's okay. Nobody who ate it really cared that it wasn't beautiful. Except maybe me, but it still was absolutely delicious. So some recipes work in an Instant Pot, some recipes don't. Part of my job for you is to cook what you want to see cooked so that I can try for you what you haven't tried yet at home. So comments, suggestions, ideas, we love to hear from you. If you want the recipe, you can get it by answering yes to our question. We'd be happy to give you the PDF of this. You can also find all of the recipes that we've cooked and the Quick and Carry Kitchen are over at our blog on quickandcarry.com. Thanks for being here today. And as a patron saint of the Quick and Carry Kitchen used to say, bon appetit.